Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous, I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate all y'all rolling through tonight. No matter how you may be joining, whether you're listening on 94.1 on your FM dial, if you happen to be tuned in on our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, or if you're watching the show live on YouTube, that's right, you can watch all of our shows on YouTube live as they happen. Just go to YouTube, search SA Sports Star. Go ahead, like, subscribe. You're allowed to comment along with the show. Or if you want to be a part of the show the old-fashioned way, feel free to call in 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. I love having conversations with y'all. Fred Records already in the chat. Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger. Lots to get into today before we head out at 6:45 for the U.S. men's national team as they get set to take on Switzerland. But before that, lots to get into today. Cowboys, they had mandatory minicamps. Micah Parsons was there. Tons to get into with that. But the Spurs offseason, at least for the next few weeks, feels like it is going to be the biggest conversation piece that we can have because of, the importance of the offseason in terms of building a contender to be where Oklahoma City is, where Indiana is, where Boston has been, where we're seeing Cleveland start to go to, where we're seeing Houston start to insert themselves into, plus all the other moves that could happen around the Spurs. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how things play out. And there was this great article by Kevin O'Connor on Yahoo Sports, and it was very in-depth, very detailed, and the Blitz with Jason and Joe were talking about it earlier this afternoon, and it really, really kind of sets up the, as I like to call it, choose your own adventure route for the San Antonio Spurs that they are heading into this offseason.
Wemby over in China right now with the Buddhist retreat. Interesting, last night I saw Don Harris on News 4 talking about it, said he spoke to a friend of Wemby that said, keep in mind, everything Wemby does is to get better at basketball. And if he can use this retreat to get better at basketball, all for it. However you're going to use that with focus and whatnot. But for the Spurs, I saw them doing a deal at the food bank, but I imagine they are having conversations daily in their conference room or whatever their meeting space is between El Jefe and Brian Wright and whatever scouts and Mitch and whatever
RC Buford
that go quite along with what Kevin O'Connor details today on yahoo.com. Now, Kevin O'Connor's article, it's going to take you a good 20 minutes to read. And
it's a great read, though.
It is a great read because it covers every base. And a lot of what he writes today, you've heard Joe and I talk about possible scenarios could they hear on this show. The one thing that he does write is a scenario that I've never even thought of, which obviously has me thinking. Of all the different scenarios that the Spurs could do, one of them he suggests, do you trade De'Aaron Fox?
Well, I think it depends on whether you're going to draft Dylan Harper. And we've been talking about this for a long time. You draft Dylan Harper, you got three guards.
Mm-hmm.
You got three guards that aren't very good shooters.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. And what does this team need? It needs shooters. So if you think Harper is the path forward as your point guard and not De'Aaron Fox, then that scenario makes perfect sense. But you still need shooters on this team. And that's because that's the biggest hole that the Spurs have to fill right now. You want to space the floor for Victor Wembanyama. That's what you want to do. But while you're doing that, he's still your focal point.
Mm-hmm.
And with the ball handlers Now, De'Aaron Fox, I think, is veteran enough to overcome that, and he knows his role. But I'm not sure that the Steph Castle or a Dylan Harper knows that right now, and they're better with the ball in their hands.
Well, and it's all about floor spacing when it comes to Wemby. And there's just not enough of a sample size of De'Aaron Fox and Wemby playing together because of the blood clots and the timing of it. But when you think about everything the Spurs should be doing at this point is to maximize Wemby. Steph Castle, is he untradeable? De'Aaron Fox, untradeable? Well, when you end up with the number 2 pick and you can get a Dylan Harper, you might love those guys, but do you get somebody different? Now, De'Aaron Fox, you know what you're getting. Dylan Harper, you hope he turns into something. Or do you trade and get a better fit for the right now? When you look at one of the things that we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks here is Oklahoma City right now looks like the benchmark. That is the team in the West that the Spurs have to build to try to knock off. And there are some that say, well, why don't you wait till Oklahoma City's run is done, which I think is dumb, right? We looked this up earlier. When was the last repeat champion?
Over the last 10 years.
It was Golden State.
There's been one.
Yeah.
So everybody now just think about this and listen. All right, everybody thought Boston, they're going to be dominant. They've got everybody. Well, they're not, right? Denver, the same way when they won a championship. Oh, they're dominant. They're going to win for years. And now it's Oklahoma City. It doesn't happen in the modern day NBA. You can't wait. You got to build your team now and go for it, because and I like it this way, that you don't have that one dominant team that's going to go and win every year. Now, Oklahoma City is stacked, and they're built, and they can get better. But it doesn't mean that they're going to have a 3, 4, 5-year run at an NBA championship. It doesn't mean it. Just, and history tells you that.
What I find fascinating when you read this Yahoo article, and again, lays out all the scenarios, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's a lot more ugly there than you realize when you start looking at numbers and just how poor shooting the Spurs have when it comes to their guard play. And if you go 3 guards and with what they need and the metrics and all the data. And so I imagine, the work that Kevin O'Connor put into this article, all the data and the analytics that the Spurs use, the discussions they're having. Again, take emotion out of it. And that's what the front office has to do. They have to take emotion out of it.
That's exactly right.
They've got Wemby. What can they do to maximize Wemby? And, what they did up to when they got Wemby, all that work, all that changed. So the Devin Vassell's and the Keldon Johnsons, I still don't understand the Jeremy Sohan pick. But, all those picks, whatever they were building for when they got Wemby, all that changed because they got Wemby. So now what do they do to maximize Wemby? And you can't, he's still on his rookie deal, but how many years do you continue to spend trying to see if these pieces are going to fit, or do you cut bait and make moves in order to maximize what you have in Wemby? Which is, is this article, Tim Duncan in his prime maximized because they were able to build with precision around Tim Duncan's abilities and adjust as Tim Duncan's career went on. The Spurs haven't really done that in the first couple of years with Wemby.
No, they haven't done that. And again, I know everybody loves Dylan Harper for whatever reason. I had one guy on our YouTube page say they are drafting, no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't know if that's the Spurs guy or what, but I wouldn't be so sure about that, especially why would you have 3 guys that are basically the same guy? I mean, they're basically the same guy in Fox, Castle, and Harper. How does that help you? Not one of those guys are shooters, not consistently and not with a high percentage. They all do better with the ball in their hands. And again, I think De'Aaron Fox is a guy that knows his role now. He's been in the NBA long enough. He knows what he's got in Victor Wembanyama, and he will play to that. And I think Castle, to some extent, did that once he got the opportunity to play last year. So I'm pretty certain about him. Now, I just don't know what you do with all 3 of those guys. It just, to me, makes no sense when you can go out and get what you need, and that is somebody's going to space the floor so Wemby can operate down low. I saw a stat, Jason, that this guy in the paint is a 74% shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about Wemby.
Yeah.
So why not put him in the paint and let him shoot?
It is so interesting. And what makes it a little bit more difficult is you're sitting at number 2 and Dylan Harper is there. You read all these national deals, and most years, Dylan Harper is likely the number 1 overall pick. It's just he's coming out when Cooper Flagg is there.
Right.
And so if Cooper Flagg had gone back to school, then Dylan Harper would be on his way to Dallas, and then there'd be a lot of other conversations about what happens with the number 2 pick. And because of the potential of Dylan Harper, I think that makes it a lot more difficult for the Spurs to just move off of what is thought to be a franchise-type player that's going to go number 2 and not number 1, only because the year he's coming out, you got a Cooper Flagg, and so, there was no debate when Wemby was coming out, right? I mean, it was Wemby, and it was and everybody else. Cooper Flagg is that kind of player, but Dylan Harper last year, probably is the number 1 overall pick. And that makes it a little bit tougher because if you're the Spurs, how do you pass on that potential, even though it's not really a fit that you need right now?
And that's the difficult situation. But remember, when Wemby came out, everybody was saying the same thing they are about Dylan Harper, about Scoot Henderson. And Scoot has yet to really become what we expect. Now, maybe there's still some more seasoning that needs to happen with Scoot. He's shown some flashes. But as it pertains to what the Spurs should do, it's very interesting. Sam on our YouTube feed says, if you trade Fox, you kill the player's belief that the Spurs will treat them right. He forced his way here, and you got him for cheap. And I think there is some truth to that. Now, it's going to be, like Fred says, so exciting. The Spurs are finally in the mix in free agency and leading up into the draft. Exactly. And that's part of it, is the unknown factor. And the unknown factor of Dylan Harper is what is also intriguing about him. You see some people talking about Ace Bailey very highly, or Con Kneppel at the 2nd overall pick, because the Spurs need shooters. Look, you don't pass up on a potential all-star to fill a need. You just don't. And you, much like the Pacers did, you draft Sabonis and figure it out. You trade Sabonis and you end up with Tyrese Halliburton, and you are now in the NBA Finals. You draft Harper and figure it out. If it fits, if it works, great. If it doesn't, whether it's him, whether it's Castle, whoever fits best, whoever Wemby likes best, whatever the way that you decide to attack it, that's the way you approach it moving forward. And you draft the best available player, the guy that you think has all-star, superstar potential, and you figure it out from there. And I think that's the best way to handle it. Or maybe you just let them all play together and figure it out that way. That may be something that AJ and Rob on the Morning Huddle were discussing earlier this morning. That plus your phone calls. What do you think the Spurs should do? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or you can comment along on our YouTube channel. Just go to SA Sports Star on YouTube. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment along with what we're talking about. The Morning Huddle, think they have a plan for how they should attack this 2nd overall pick. We'll discuss that when we come back here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM.
The DQ Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Baskets have more flavor than your taste buds know what to do with. We start with all white meat, breaded, seasoned, and fried to crunchy perfection. Next, we double down and toss them in honey barbecue or new buffalo sauce. Serve them up with DQ fries, Texas toast, and house-made Hidden Valley Ranch, and you've got flavor on flavor on flavor. Get the Sauced and Tossed Chicken Strip Basket in honey barbecue or new buffalo right now at DQ. Happy tastes good. Participation may.
Progressive knows when you're on your boat, you're already on vacation. And Vacation You forgets all your worries. Vacation You doesn't even keep track of time and knows that time is a meaningless construct designed to control us, man. But Regular You knows you don't want to be too far out in the water after the sun goes down, because Vacation You doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet. Vacation You and Regular You really need to get on the same page. So bundle your boat with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Calling all snack MVPs, it's time to huddle up with Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, the low-carb, high-protein snack with a flavor-packed crunch. From sea salt and cracked black pepper to hot honey, sweet barbecue, and more, these bold bites are ready to tackle your crunch time cravings. Find your flavor playbook at H-E-B and make every bite count. Because when it's crunch time, there's only one snack you need on your team. Southern Recipe Small Batch.
Carbach Brewing kicking off the summer with their Music to Your Beer campaign to keep you listeners in San Antonio in a Love Street state of mind. Love Street's got 2 great giveaways going on. Carbach's giving away a custom pair of Love Street Air Force Ones designed by a local artist. Get you stepping into the summer in style. On top of that, you can head down to your favorite watering hole and look for the Love Street Beer Rep. They might be able to hook you up with 2 credits to your Touch Tunes account so you can get the whole bar celebrating summer. You want details on that? Check it out at carbachbrewing.com. And if Love Street's not your thing, that's all right. There's something for everybody in the Carbach lineup. Hopadillo, fantastic IPA. That's their flagship IPA. You can even find the Double Dillo right now. That's Hopadillo Imperial for a limited time, but you can find that out and about in the wild as well. Ziegenbach celebrating the great taste of Texas summer. Chance for listeners to win a grill for their backyard. You can find that online at Carbach Brewing as well. Check them out, guys. carbachbrewing.com.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM and SASportsStar.com. Always appreciate you all riding along with me tonight and every night. There's been a lot of San Antonio Spurs rumors, leaks. Tarek, I have seen the leaked picture of KD's jersey hanging in the locker room. You know, with everything, you gotta be somewhat skeptical online. And I don't know the validity of that picture, the Photoshop nature of it. But as Bill Simmons said yesterday, he wouldn't be shocked if a deal was already done. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Maybe Dylan Harper is a Spur. Maybe Kevin Durant is a Spur. Maybe all of these things can be true at the same time. It all depends on cost, more so than anything. But once you bring in a potential Dylan Harper and you already have De'Aaron Fox and you already have Stephon Castle, potentially Devin Vassell still, How does it work? How does it work when you have so many guys that seemingly play the same position? Well, the morning huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. We're talking about that a little bit earlier this morning on the morning huddle.
Gilbert says, is there a scenario where Castle, Fox, and Harper can all start alongside Wemby, or is there not enough ball touches for that? And John says too many small guards, Gilbert.
No.
I got news for you if you think Dylan Harper's a small guard. He's about 6'6", 220.
Anybody paying attention what Oklahoma City's rolling out? Are you watching Shea, Caruso, Cason Wallace, Lou Dort, and a big dude? It's all guards, man.
Yep. And De'Aaron Fox is small. Steph Castle is not small.
No, he's small. Yeah,
there's not too many small guards. You can afford to have 3 guards on the floor. You just can't afford to have 3 guys who are 6'2" on the floor. Dylan Harper's a big body. Steph Castle's a big body.
Yeah, Dylan will grow. He's skinny, but we're talking about a 6.
I think he's Cade Cunningham.
Okay, yeah, look at Cade Cunningham. Get out of the 1 through 5 mindset. That's dead.
I think so too.
Now there's still 1s and 2s, and there's still 4s and 5s, but it's a combination of those that all kind of roll in together. You don't have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 anymore. No one does. So that idea is silly. Whenever anybody says, well, we got too many guards, that's dumb. That's a dumb premise. Now, the size of the guard and how the guard plays, that's more important.
What I don't really love is that you'd have a bunch of guards and you have a 5 who wants to be a guard.
Yes, I can find faults in every idea of how you build a basketball team. But the idea, the game is still positioned, but it's not 1 through 5. It's big and little. That's all there is. There's big dudes that play big, and there's big dudes that play little, and you count them as a little. But there's bigs and there's littles, and you have to run the right combination of bigs and littles. And if you have the right, you don't have to be huge. You just have to have the right combination. And Oklahoma City is the perfect example. They are just as good defensively when Hartenstein is in as when Chet is in, because they defend the edges in. And they do that with 3 guards on the court at any given time. They always have 3 on the court.
Yeah, when Chet and Hartenstein are on the floor together, it's not like they're. If one of them's on the floor, they're the 5.
Yes,
if they're both on the floor, they're just bigs.
Chet is suddenly a little.
Yeah.
It's not your size; it's your attitude. You have bigs and you have littles, and you just have to have the right combination of the two.
And ideally, guys like Chet, who is a big, who can play big and play little, like having that versatility, and that's why I would love to see Wemby start to play more big offensively.
He will.
But yeah, you've got everybody's sort of. It's almost like I'm fluid. When you play in the NBA,
you have to
fluid.
Now you have to.
There are guys who are married into, like, De'Aaron Fox is never going to body up somebody else's 3.
No,
they're just not. But
he will just as quickly dribble coast to coast for a layup or pull up for a 3. He can do the different levels of basketball. He's a little, but he plays different parts of the court.
But having him on the floor with Fox having Fox on the floor with Castle and a guy like Dylan Harper, especially, you won't lose anything defensively, because it's not like you're going to be able to say, oh, well, we'll just throw too many big bodies at them. Like, it's just done. You've got guys who have enough size to do it. You can afford to have 1 little guy on the floor. You can afford, you can afford to have 2 little guys, depending on what your team is, as long as your team's built the right way. It's just very old school to think you can't have 3 guards playing, or you can't.
3 forwards. It's just a silly premise that you're lost in some a style of basketball that no longer exists. Or at least not after 8th grade.
Before Steph Castle came here, who was the Spurs backcourt?
Well, we had 9 dudes that kind of came through. We had Jeremy Sohan playing point guard a year and a half ago.
You didn't really even have a guy who would be considered a point guard. And
by design,
And if I told you, Keldon Johnson, put him in a position, that's his. Like, there really isn't one. Like, he's just a basketball player.
But I would define him as a big. Even though
I think so too.
I would
he's
define
not
him as his realm of of polish is from the free throw line in.
Okay,
that's just kind of where he's going to be more successful.
Harrison Barnes technically was your starting 4 this year.
He's a little.
He's not a big. His game is,
his area of influence is 18 feet out, even though he's 6'8". You just quantify him a different way.
Yeah, that's just the way you got to look at basketball now. There's not too many guards on the floor. You do have to have some big and some little. I still believe that.
Absolutely, you do.
But drafting a 6'6" combo guard is not going to throw things off because Dylan Harper is going to be able to defend probably 1 through 4.
He will eventually. Yes.
And I mean, look at Alex Caruso, defends 1 through 5.
Exactly. So, and those guys are findable and fluid, like you just used. That you could run Caruso on as you started your 5. You could run him at small forward or at point guard, and you wouldn't notice the difference.
Yep. No, I just don't think. I just think there's a lot of fluidity in positions today in the NBA, and you just get the best players you can get and make it work. You know what I mean?
The best teams do that. The best teams get the best players available and make it work.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think like if when Oklahoma City drafted Chet, they had the number 2 pick. If Orlando had decided to take Chet and Banchero was the second guy, they would have found a way to make that work.
Yes.
Like you just
they drafted, what's the kid's name? Topic last year?
Yeah.
Another guard. They have another guard that they
That's
drafted.
coming.
That they already had Caruso. They already had. Well, they made the move for Caruso.
No, they hadn't made it.
They hadn't made it, but they
had Giddey at the time.
They had Giddey, so they weren't afraid to go and keep drafting the best dude available, and we'll make it work. And they did.
Yep, and that's how you build the depth that they've got. Is you just keep taking good players,
and then they traded the guy they drafted for more dudes.
Yep, and that's how you do it. That's the best way to do it. That's the best approach to how you do it, and to think that it can't work because they're 3 similar players. You got De'Aaron Fox, who's 6'3", Castle is 6'6", and showed this past season that he can play off the ball. He doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective within the constructs of the game. He can affect it defensively. He can affect it through the offense without having to be ball dominant. And we don't know if Harper can or can't play off the ball the same way that Stephon Castle proved that he could. Like these, if you hang on to them, 6'5". I mean, there's a lot of height and length in that Spurs backcourt that it can allow them to run those 3 guys together, along with Wemby, who covers so much ground as an eraser. And then whether you still have Harrison Barnes or not, or Jeremy Sohan, like you've got the ability to have these players all play together just because of their size and their length and some of their abilities to defend. It doesn't mean it won't work just because they're all listed as point guards. Stephon Castle proved this past season he doesn't need the ball to be effective. A lot of people say don't trade for Kevin Durant. He's, a guy that, another mouth that you have to feed. Kevin Durant isn't a mouth you have to feed. Kevin Durant finds his shots seamlessly through the flow of an offense. He's not ball dominant. He's not James Harden pounding the ball until the shot clock gets down to 0 and then firing up a shot. He can have the ball swing around, move around as much as it can, find him late in the clock and him fire off and hit a 3 at 43% clip. Those are the types of players the Spurs actually need on this roster. Guys that can work around. Guys like Alex Caruso. Guys like Benedict Mathurin. Andrew Nembhard. The guys that don't need the ball in their hand, don't need to be ball dominant, and let the game come to them, because you've got the guys on this roster right now. What say you? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. It's a big day out the Star, too. I mean, Mike McCarthy was out there. Micah Parsons was out there. And Brian Schottenheimer talked about it all. We'll discuss it all coming up next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Imagine selling your home and getting paid before and after it sells. It's like getting paid twice. Jason Minix here from San Antonio Sports Star. You can do that with Orchard. Orchard puts cash into your pockets. You can buy your dream home. Then your Orchard experts prepare and market your old home, including repairs, showings, even price-boosting upgrades. And here's why Orchard's the best. When your home sells for more, which happens 9 times out of 10, you get that cash too. It's almost like getting paid twice. That's why Orchard is the smarter, faster, hassle-free way to sell your home.
Orchard can unlock cash from your old home to use on your new home. That's payday one. Then you buy your new place, and once you're in, Orchard sells your old home for top dollar. You get that money too. Boom, payday two. Learn how you can make more with Orchard. Start with your free home valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please.
Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours.
Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours.
Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WEALTH25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WEALTH25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
John, what do you think about these tariffs? What do you think is going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The prices on used cars have suddenly come up because the cost has gone up. And at GiveMeTheVin.com, we're paying more. Go to GiveMeTheVin.com, put in your license plate, and see for yourself. We're paying more today than we were yesterday. Remember, the tariffs have raised the car prices, and we are paying extra. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer. Sell us your car.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Mellow Mushroom has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers. Mellow Mushroom has San Antonio's best happy hour with food specials and half off adult beverages. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Dear Mama, my first 5 years, I'll learn a lot. How to walk, talk, brush my teeth. But for food, I'm pretty much counting on you. I don't know what's good for me. I can't use the stove, drive to the store. It's up to you. So if you need help, there's WIC. WIC, Women, Infants, Children. They'll tell you what's good for me, even provide food. Because what I eat my first 5 years will affect me the rest of my life. Love always, your child.
Get proper nutrition before it's too late. Call or visit WIC. WIC provides nutrition information, healthcare referrals, even food for women, infants, children. To find out more about WIC, our nearest location, or if you qualify for our benefits, call 1-866-WIC-INFO.
P.S. It doesn't cost anything.
Your child has you, and you have WIC. Brought to you by the National WIC Association and the Ad Council.
Cowboys play here. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Appreciate all y'all riding along with me tonight. We are out here in about 10 minutes as the U.S. national team gets set to take on Switzerland. We will bring that to you right here on San Antonio Sports Star. But in the meantime, the Dallas Cowboys, well, they were getting some work in at the Star. And Brian Schottenheimer spoke to the media today. The Blitz was talking about what shot he had, at the Star at Cowboys Cowboys mandatory minicamp practices.
Micah did it to Brian Schottenheimer the other night. And you could tell Shotty wasn't sure what was going on with that. He was asked about the goodnight call from Micah today.
Well, I was really kind of pissed off at my kids, to be honest with you. I called my son Sutton. I said, "Buddy, you got to look out for Dad. I don't look at these. I don't know these things, but I just thought he missed me." And I literally was like, "That's cool, man." Guy reached out to check in, see what's going on. Then I was like, "Damn." Fell for it. So I got on my kids and my daughter, and I was like, "Hi, you guys, I don't do much of that social media stuff." So, but he got me pretty good.
He did get you pretty good. Now, I thought, and it's interesting because when you listen to that phone call yesterday, I mean, Shotty was deeply concerned about poor Micah. He's not feeling this whole contract thing. He's down in the dumps, and then he feels like he got pranked.
I mean, Shotty rolls in stride, but you're right. He sees Micah's calling. It's right before minicamp, mandatory contract is there. Concern. I mean, all of that was from Shotty's part genuine. And yeah, he knows he was part of a joke, but also, what does it mean that Micah chose Shotty to call to say goodnight to? He was reaching out. Now, he could have called Jerry.
Jerry probably wouldn't have been awake.
You don't know
or
that.
Drunk, one of the two.
I mean, you never know. Now, by all accounts from media up there at the mandatory minicamp, Micah is there and had about a 30-minute conversation on the field, Micah and Jerry Jones one-on-one. There's photos, them talking, and lots of accounts of conversation still going, and it goes for about 30 minutes. Interesting. And maybe that's one of the things that Micah wanted to accomplish while he's there. Talk to Jerry one-on-one, because by all accounts, according to Jerry at the owners' meetings, they have not met and talked contract in weeks.
But you think that we're talking contract there, or was it just maybe setting some things up? Because I wouldn't think they'd be out there talking contract. And look, according to Jerry, they had everything done. The last time they talked, they just, the agent wasn't involved, and he had an agreement with Micah. So I think Jerry might have been scolding young Micah, saying, "Look, young man, we had this worked out. You had to go bring your agent into this, and you screw everything up."
I mean, who knows what they'd be talking. I mean, I'm sure there was a little bit of where'd he go, France or wherever. How was this? How's the,
he went to Dubai.
How was that? I mean, I don't know how CJ's shoulder. I mean, you could ask him all kinds of things. You have no idea. But I imagine a little bit of the contract was there. Leadership stuff that they were talking about. But Shotty did say having him there. Well, you look around the league, a couple other the big time pass rushers trying to get contracts, skipping the mandatory part. Micah is there.
Well, number one, to have everybody here, perfect attendance is a good thing. I think it just shows you that he's serious about what we've talked about, which is developing that leadership mentality, the mindset to be a guy that we can count on, and not just the fourth quarter when he's got to, make a big sack or get pressure on the quarterback, but just in general throughout the course of a week. And it's a long season. We all know that. And my conversations with Micah have been great, and really all the guys, but he's doing the things he's supposed to do in terms of he's training, he's prepping, he's been in, he's been out. And nobody's more excited than Micah about what we're building here. And he's excited to be back in the building doing it.
And look, that's good. And I think it shows a lot. And I will say, if they don't get this thing done now, I don't know what Jerry has to complain about, because Micah showed up. He's showing the leadership that Jerry said he wanted out of him. So he's there. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Didn't have to be there. You already mentioned the other guys that are holding out, that are pass rushers, are not there at their respective camps. So, again, we can say it. And how many times have we said this needs to get done? It's only going to get more expensive. Yada, yada, yada. But Jerry doesn't give a damn.
He doesn't. Jerry works on his own timeline. And maybe that is one of the things that Jerry and Micah talked about today. Have no idea. But it is possible that, Micah, this will get done in Oxnard. Here's the plan, and here's why we do it this way. Just be on board. The fact that he's there says a lot. And even the team, and Chadi talked about this, even if Micah isn't a full participant in all the activities, just his presence in the building is big for this Cowboys football team.
The number one thing is the connection piece. We have a lot of new players on this team. He spent time with a lot of those guys, not just in the building, but away from the building. But I think that's always going to be the first thing that I look at. Him getting to know Joe Milton maybe a little bit better, and him getting to know George Pickens better and some of the guys on defense. I think that's a big, big piece of it. But you want your best players excited about what you're doing. You want your best players buying in because they're your best players? No, because they're the ones that the young players look up to, because they're the ones that are like, okay, hey, that guy's different. And why is he different? It can't just be because he's got an incredible first step and knows how to bend an edge. He's got a work ethic. He's got a process that he goes through. We talked a lot about that today. Like, what is each player doing on a daily basis to help them become a great player? And so we talked about a couple of those things in terms of it's got to be authentic. It's got to mirror their identity. But what's the process that's going to allow them to get to the ultimate outcome, which is something that they're trying to achieve this year?
Well, look, and it is good. The young guys see him out there. Everybody's there. I don't know how many other teams. I haven't looked. We talked about the pass rushers that are holding out in their respective teams. But to have perfect attendance is something that is, to me, check mark. It's a good thing.
It is. I mean, TJ Watt not there. It's Steelers camp.
Terry McLaurin's at Commanders camp.
Trey Hendrickson not at Cincinnati. But again, with a new head coach and a new defensive coordinator, there's just this whole different feel about this team than 1 year ago today, right? I mean, a year ago, mandatory mini camp, it was weird. We get to Oxnard for training camp, it was weird. The whole offseason was weird, and then last year was a disaster. This year feels like a complete reset and a freshness and an excitement, some enthusiasm that we haven't seen from Cowboys coaches or players or, quite frankly, fans. Now, we're not back to the Cowboy fan Super Bowl. I don't think we're there yet.
It was close. So
it was close.
I could hear it. It was welling up.
But there's some excitement there about what this team might be. And again, I don't know, the damage done last year, feels like that scab, that wound is healed, where the Green Bay loss took an entire season to finally get that wound healed. And now you're back. But I think a lot of Cowboy fans realistic about where the Eagles are, where Washington is, and where the Cowboys are when they are looking at the overall, just how good is this Cowboys team. There's still question marks there, but they are a far better team going into this year than they were last year.
I don't think there's any question about that. That is true. That's just facts. And again, no matter what you think about Brian Schottenheimer, and as a coach, I have no idea. But as a leader, I think he's doing all the right things. This guy's come in, he's changed the culture. He's got some different ways of doing things that are completely different than what McCarthy did. So I think in that respect, and again, he's won the offseason thus far. He has. We get into September and October, we'll see how he does. But Cowboys do have a tough schedule. They really do. And I honestly, and I heard somebody else talking about this the other day, and anytime you think anything's a sure bet, you're going to lose. But this is about as sure as I can get. That 7.5 win total just seems like it's easy money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really does. Seems like it's just easy money. That's what the Cowboys are right now.
Now, is Joe buying in on the Dak Prescott? Or just the Cowboys as a whole? Because they did get better this offseason. As much as people love to bag on them for mistakes that they've made, Dak Prescott, coming off injury, has always played extremely well. He looks healthy. He has slimmed down, probably in the best shape he's been in a long time. You've got two great wide receivers on each side. You allow your touchdown leader last year, Jalen Tolbert, to slide into the slot. Also probably opens things up for Jake Ferguson. You have a new offensive line coach, philosophy, etc., offensive play caller, commitment, and actual running backs with NFL experience that have been there and done that with Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders is going to be very, very interesting.
The following
We'll talk
is
to y'all
a
tomorrow.
presentation of Westwood One Sports.